Welcome, everybody. I'm going to share my screen and tell you that you are at Friday Night Comics, um, which is often done on Friday night. In fact, only so far done on Friday night, except for those of you for whom it's Saturday morning or only Friday afternoon, in which case it's Friday, it's something else. But anyway, we call it Friday Night Comics. We call it the We Believe in Comics workshops at the Sequential Artists Workshop. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Sequential Artists Workshop is also called SAW, and we're a 501c3 nonprofit where we have courses. I'm going to change that slide so it says sequentialartistworkshop.org because apparently learn.sawcomics.org has been buggy lately, but we're working on that. Anyway, you can find our courses at that URL. Coming soon, some of our courses, not till April though, is a comic constraints class with Matt Madden, Build Your Own Labyrinth. And here next week in this slot, Mita Mahato is going to be doing poetry comics. And also, it's time to start thinking about the graphic novel intensive, if that's anything you've been thinking about ever. That starts in June, but we take early bird signups as early as April, and we start a little like ramp up in April. If you're interested, you can look on our website for that. So thanks for your donations. It helps keep SAW afloat. It helps us pay scholarships. It helps us pay tonight's artist and all the Friday night artists. It helps keep these free for people. SAW is not a one-way bank, unlike the bank that Popeye's trying to open there. I'll let you read that later. He says he wants to start a bank where nobody has to put any money in; they just take it out. Anyway, I'll give you lots of ways to donate in the chat. So thanks for being here. So we'll take some sharing at the end. Please keep it PG-13, no inappropriate speech or imagery, and share elsewhere on social media with the hashtag Friday Night Comics or the @symbol Comics Workshop. And I'll put Kay's tag sign or whatever you call it in the chat. Also, it's Woodman-Maynard. And you can also share at members.sawcomics.org. Oh yeah, we also make PDFs of your work tonight. So in the chat, there'll be a Dropbox link. And if you post it before Sunday, we'll make a little PDF where we put it online and you can see it at seesawcomics.org. And that's that. So enjoy. I'm so glad that Kay Woodman Maynard is here. Yay. Who doesn't like childhood obsessions? Let me see how I can stop sharing. Okay. Hi, Kay. How are you? I'm going to spotlight you. Are you ready to be
Yeah,
spotlit?
I'm
Okay.
ready.
All right. There you go. Welcome again. You've done this 2 or 3 times. We love having you. Good evening. I'll just let you go. And I'm going to be in the chat,
Yeah,
like summarizing everything you say and stuff. Okay.
great. Thank you so much, Tom. Hello, everyone. So nice
Hey.
to be here. I love being involved with SAW. I've been mentoring with the 6-month program and soon will be with the year-long program, which is super fun. And I'm really excited to chat about childhood obsessions, which is something I've been thinking a lot about lately. So I'm just gonna pull up my slides. Um, and why I have been thinking about this is I've just noticed things from my childhood popping up a lot in my art lately. And then there are, of course, the things from childhood that one leaves far behind, like nail polish. I used to have an extensive nail polish collection. Now I don't even own nail polish at all. Um, Things like that. And I felt like it would be kind of a fun thing to explore and where I've really been seeing this a lot lately is in my art, just kind of things that I was obsessed with as a kid, like kind of especially architecture has been coming up. So I used to draw like buildings all the time. And recently I've been doing this story where there are walking buildings, and that's the pitch that I'm currently working on for a graphic novel. And so that's kind of what inspired me to do this. But so I'm just gonna kind of tell you a little bit about myself before we jump in. But I am a graphic novelist and I primarily work in watercolor and also a combination of digital techniques. I have an adaptation of Tuck Everlasting, which is coming out in September, which I'm really excited about. And pre-order is up in case you are interested.
Oh,
And yes, and I also have an adaptation of The Great Gatsby, which came out a couple years ago from Candlewick Press. Um, I know some of you found me on Substack. I love the Substack community. It's been so fun. And I have a Substack called Creating Comics that I put out weekly, and I try to help artists create more and feel less bad about themselves in the process. So I share diary comics. I'm pretty passionate about diary comics as a way to kind of process emotions and express ourselves and connect with other people or connect with ourselves. And so that's why I love kind of leading this workshop. And I also offer comics coaching. So I've been really enjoying this as well, where I get to connect one on one with cartoonists and help them elevate their practice and help them, with kind of creating a pitch or accelerating kind of the systems that they, making better systems to kind of get work done or giving feedback. So that's like my kind of things. And then one final thing is that Susanna Hanley, who's on this call, hey, Susanna, if you want to wave. Uh, Susanna and I are going to be hosting a workshop called Level Up Your Lettering, where you can create your own custom font. And we'll also be talking about integrating your font into comics. And we're pretty passionate about this because we've kind of seen how having good lettering can really elevate people's comics, and how poor lettering can really kind of diminish them, and which is sad when you spend so much time on the art. And so we're going to be offering this workshop, and maybe Susanna can put the link in the chat so you can see. So very excited for that. Um, and then now we are going to be creating a 1 to 4 panel comic about a childhood obsession that you had. So, like I said, these could be obsessions that are long gone, or they can be obsessions that are still around, or they could, funny, serious, whatever. Obviously, keeping them PG-13. And so this is an example of a 4 panel comic that I made recently, kind of in preparation for this. So I'll just read it. As a kid, I desperately wanted to be cool. Clearly, the trick was to collect something impressive. Miniature tea sets. Shockingly, this did not make me cool. So, and I have discovered other people collected miniature tea sets now that I posted that, which makes me very happy. Um, so that's an example of like a 4 panel comic. We're only going to have, what is it, Tom, like half an hour to make our comics? Is that right? About?
Depends on how many like warm-ups and stuff like that we do. Usually, honestly, our best time seems to be 4 to 5 minutes per panel. So maybe even as little as 20 minutes for a 4 panel
Yeah.
comic, but it doesn't feel rushed, especially because some people finish early. And while those people are sharing, other people are sort of finishing up and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what happens is we all create these comics and then we come together and share at the end for those of you who want to share. So if you still want to keep working on your comic while other people start sharing, that is fine too. So I often, when I do my diary comics, like working in 4 panels, but 1 panels are great. This is an example from Kate Eisenberg, just of a 1 panel comic. I'll read it. Once upon a time, there was a princess who wasn't about to take anyone's shit. I couldn't really find one that was exactly on a childhood obsession, but I liked that as a childhood related one. So these are basically my steps to making a diary comic. I don't tend to do it panel by panel, Tom, like you just said.
Oh,
But
okay.
so my steps is basically choosing the topic and spending a couple minutes kind of thinking about what the topic is. Second is deciding how many panels you want to do it in. Yeah. Third is the planning and the text. So that might be doing a little thumbnail drawing. That might be writing the text on the side. Fourth is I draw in the art, which is about 15 minutes. And I don't tend to work panel by panel. I kind of like jump around quite a bit. And then the fifth is make it better. Basically, when I'm done, I'm generally like, okay, this is okay, but how can I make it? How can I make it better? So sometimes that's adding in spot blacks or watercolor. And this is just how I do it. So if this doesn't feel good to you, create however you want. I certainly don't want to be telling you how to make comics. This is just the process that works for me. So, step one, we'll just jump right in, is choosing your topic. So, I think making a list of possibilities is a good way to go. Maybe you already know, and in which case you can start kind of planning it out. So, I just listed some examples here, like choosing a favorite book, a band, toys, collections, persons, animals, that kind of thing. So we'll just do 2 minutes and I will time it. So let's get started.
So I since you've been deep into childhood obsessions lately, do you want to talk about like what makes an obsession exactly? Like I was, if you're kind of into sports or you're kind of into this or that, is it an obsession? And like how do you find that like thing you were quote obsessed with, you know?
I don't think it really matters. It can just be something
Okay.
you were really into.
Really into is enough. Okay.
Really into is enough. But I think it's more interesting, if you were just so passionate about dinosaurs,
Uh-huh.
like that kind of like I think that's kind of a more interesting place. But if you can't think of an obsession, just do something you were pretty into,
Okay. Sorry,
not
I'm
something that you hated.
splitting hairs here.
Yeah. Okay. So we will get started.
And are you going to work as well?
I am.
And
So yeah, I'll
and
move.
do you already have a topic or sometimes the artists come prepared and sometimes they start
I've been
fresh.
thinking about it, but I did not plan it out. And I've learned that when I'm hosting, I cannot, 4 panels is a lot for me, so I probably will do a one panel while
Okay.
we're thinking about it. But right now I'm just going to be listing out topics. So I'll try to do that where you can all see.
Well, I'd love to hear in the chat too what people are, some of their examples. I'll put that in the chat. There's Planet of the Apes, giant robots, magic powers. Nice. Ooh, Legos, but not just building with Legos, but actually drawing out plans, adopting a virtual pet, vampires, Elvis Presley. Oh, this is going too fast now. It's great.
Okay, we are at time.
Okay.
So just as an example, like I just wrote Legos, stickers, nail polish, harp, architecture, the color blue, humpback whales, a shirt with a
Oh,
wolf on it, Anne of Green Gables, Narnia. So just made a list and I then will choose one of those things from the list, basically.
who else had humpback whales? I wonder. You can put it in the chat. Um, that's a great one. Narnia, other fans of Narnia for sure. Okay, step two.
Yeah, and then next is just kind of deciding how many panels you want to do. Uh, I often, for my diary comics, do 4 panels. I have this little template that I have a photo of on the right of, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I use that. I just find that if I have a template, I'm more likely to fill in what is in the template once I draw it out, as opposed to staring at a blank page. And but basically just, think about how complicated of a subject matter it is, and then kind of decide how many you want to do. I'm gonna talk about my shirt with a wolf on it, and I'm just gonna do one panel or kind of a diagram is what I'm thinking. But you can do whatever you want.
Okay, this is 1 minute to think about how many panels. Put that
Yeah.
in the. I'm also looking for your phone. Let me see if I can
Is it
find it.
not?
Here it is. Yeah, I'm going to add to the spotlight so
Okay.
people who have that they can see. Dr. Demento. Whoa. There you go. Theater. Emily of New Moon. Is that part of Emily
Yes,
Gables?
I loved Emily of New Moon. Was that Susanna?
It's beneath Susanna's. Susanna was an Anne of Green Gables fan too, but
I was even more Emily of New Moon. Yes, that was a good one. So these are Ella Montgomery, the same author
oh, but
for those
a different book.
different book. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that is time for that.
All right.
Oh, this was just also you don't have to make your panels rectangular. That's something that I do a lot in my graphic novels is I don't always use rectangles. So just keep that in mind. Like I was thinking if I was doing a nail polish one, for instance, it could be kind of fun to just draw the nail polish and then like container and then put all the panels within the nail polish, like that kind of thing. But I liked this one of Sherlock Holmes.
Fun.
If you're obsessed with Holmes, this would be a cool way to do it. So then next is kind of the planning. So this is 5 minutes. If you want to just start making your art while you're doing this, you're obviously welcome to. But basically, I kind of often jot down on a piece of paper what each panel is going to be in, or I'll thumbnail draw it. Thumbnail drawings are just tiny drawings of your page that you sketch out quickly. I find that I write down like the text and maybe what's going to happen on the side, and it helps me kind of make better art. So that's kind of how I do it. But if you want to jump into making art, that is fine too. So I'm going to do that for 5 minutes. And I've kind of started doing that. I don't know if you can see, like I started doing a little thumbnail drawing of this t-shirt and and then I'll figure out what goes around it.
Um, okay, I just copied what's on that slide into the chat so people are missing it. Um, you said you're doing a shirt that had a wolf on it?
Yes, I had a special shirt that was my favorite shirt, and it glowed in the dark. And it had a howling
Oh,
wolf on it,
wow.
and it was purple, which was my favorite color at the time. And then it met a sad demise when I was changing in a porta potty near the beach to get out of my swimsuit, and the
Oh,
t-shirt ended up down the porta potty. And that is
oh
when I learned,
no. Oh
that
my
is when
God.
I learned the limits of my mother's love. She was not willing to go into the porta potty to retrieve my wolf shirt.
Oh my God.
So that could be a whole, it could be a whole thing.
I hope you'll include that.
Oh yes, yes, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a tragedy. Um, wow. Might as well do King Kong. That was the only thing I could come up with.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Mm, maybe people in the chat can tell me if it was Jeff Bridges or Kurt Russell who was in the King Kong from the 70s. It was one of them, but I don't remember. Jeff Bridges. Nice, thanks. I wondered. How funny. Charles Grodin. Oh, really? Charles Grodin? Oh, he would have been the, we see the evil capitalist or we see the doctor, the more by the book doctor. And Jessica Lange, of course. On the oil executive. Ah, got it. Okay. Evil capitalist. Thank you, Walter. He got stuff.
So you can see I'm just drawing out like a couple different layouts that I'm considering. And that's often what I do is I kind of try out different things just in thumbnail before kind of choosing
Mhm.
what I want to do.
Are you going to put the whole story in the text about the
Um,
porta potty and
yeah, I think at first I was just gonna do kind of put it as like a diagram. So saying like this is purple, it glowed in the dark, it was my favorite, and it led a sad demise in the porta potty. But now I'm like, that's so funny. Like maybe I just give the porta potty its own tier, and it was sad. Now I'm very careful in the porta potties.
Anne wants to know if you're using a fountain pen.
I am. I'm using a Lamy. It's one of their inexpensive ones. I forget which one it is, but yeah, Lamy. It is one of their basic ones, and it has a converter. So I put my own carbon platinum ink in there
Um,
to. Mhm.
um, okay, if you don't mind for a moment, I'm going to stop your sharing and let people
Yep.
watch you draw for a minute, and then we can go back to sharing in a moment. And I've got what was on your
Oh,
screen.
that was time. Yeah, that was time.
Oh, it
But
was.
so you can see that I've just wrote out the list at first. I've drawn some kind of thumbnail drawings of this is like if I just kind of do a diagram and then I'm like, well, I'm leading a comics workshop. Maybe I shouldn't just do a diagram. Maybe I should do a comic. And then I have this little wolf here. I'm writing down the features of it. Where did I get it? It was purple, it glowed in the dark, and then its demise. So that's often what I do as I'm starting.
Now we can really see that wolf too. Look at how it's howling. That's so great.
There was like a moon in the
Of
background. My
course.
spouse tried to find one for me as a gift.
Was the moon glow in the dark?
I was trying to remember that. I don't think it was. I think it was just the stars. There were like
Mm,
stars glowing in the dark. Yeah.
awesome.
So maybe somebody looked in the porta potty and was seeing these things glowing from it. So let's go back to the
Go
screen
ahead.
if that's okay.
Sure.
And then, so next is just drawing in the art. So if you've kind of planned out the text, I haven't really not doing a very good job with my own list. And I don't necessarily work chronologically, which is I think why Tom, you suggest like kind of spending 5 minutes per panel, which is probably why I don't do that because I usually just kind of draw out everything kind of vaguely and then go in and make details, or I start with what's easiest first and then go from there.
Uh-huh.
And I often just do straight to ink, which means that I don't pencil first. So in comics, it's really common to lay down pencil sketches first and then trace over it. I don't do that when I'm doing diary comics because I find that that is a good way to get obsessive and that I don't end up finishing the comic. And so my goal is to finish, and I find that it also helps fight perfectionism, which is something that I struggle with. So that is that. So yeah, I'll stop sharing and we'll just have like 15 minutes to do that.
Okay. And I just put everything you wrote in the chat.
Great.
And Michael says he needs to try this approach. But Michael, you do that every Wednesday on your Wednesday night. Promptopalooza, drawing directly in ink. I find
Oh,
direct ink.
this is fascinating. What motivates Catherine's system of jumping around and
Oh,
and level of effort? I got to try this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's also, obviously I pencil for my graphic novels, but yeah, I find for just enjoyment, I just have a lot more fun and it feels so like powerful too. Like I'm just committing to this line.
all right. So we're doing 15 minutes. I only wrote one sentence. I need to write more.
This is why it's really hard when you're hosting.
I know, totally.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have any And they do make this, I think. You don't have any glow in the dark paint with you, do you?
I do not, but they do make it. Yeah, that would be cool. Wow, that looked more like a giraffe head than a wolf.
Directly in
I
ink.
had a good wolf on the other page. I don't know. Oh well.
Cecilia says, I loved Casper the Friendly Ghost. He was my imaginary
Mm.
friend for a while.
Aw, a good imaginary friend.
Oh, and Ray reminds us that Casper had a horse named Nightmare. I don't remember that.
Oh, hmm. I've just realized that I did things out of order. That's what happens when you don't plan well. Like I think I should have not had this shot here. I feel like this should have been here in the second panel. Oh well. So sometimes if I do that when I'm making diary comics that I think I'm going to want to share later, like in my Substack, then I will just finish the comic and with the idea that I'll switch it later in Photoshop and I'll just scan it in
Oh,
and then switch it in Photoshop. I don't
sure.
think I'm going to do that now.
Okay, how are we doing on time? I'm gonna put a timer up on
9 minutes. Yeah, I
9.
couldn't. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'll put it at 8. Uh, okay. Oops. Oh, shucks. What's going on? All right. All right. On my screen, if anyone sees it, it's roughly.
Yes. Thanks, Tom.
Sure. Howling is becoming a major theme in my comic too.
Oh, nice.
Howling like King Kong.
Uh, at 7 minutes.
Oh yeah? Oh, that's more than I thought. So I just put mine up. Okay.
That's what Helga says. Helga's my
Oh,
timer.
right. Helga.
I was worried Helga died, but it was just batteries. It's already Helga too. And I'm kind of like have laid out my comic by now and am starting kind of the next step, which is just make it better. But we'll have more time to do that.
Oh, okay. That's right. So there'll be a little bit of make it better time.
Yeah, so this is not, yeah, we'll have 5 more minutes after this time. And for me, making it better is generally like spot blacks and watercolor, which I don't generally watercolor my diary comics since I make them in bed, and that would be messy. But I do often ones that I like or think would be good as a colored. I will color them later, which I'm gonna try to do tonight. But I think the problem is that this I need to stop inking or else it won't dry. Like
That's sad.
like
Such a sad story.
so anybody watching me and you can feel free to ignore me. I'm just starting to watercolor. So I'm wetting my palette with spraying.
Erica has a question, which is, do you have any color tips?
Ah,
You're so good with your watercolor choices.
oh,
Swoon.
thank you. I spend a long time choosing color palettes and I try a lot of different things. And for watercolor, I use a website from this artist named Jane Blundell. So I can put her name in the in the chat. But I think the biggest thing is really to limit your color palette. I think just ends up making it look so much better. And I mean, for a lot of things, I just learn by trial and error and kind of seeing what I like. But I find that I research kind of colors that other people like, who I respect, and that's kind of where I'll often start. And then I'll kind of go from there is my quick quick answer. But right now, this was a color palette I believe that she recommended on her site. And I was just trying it out to see if I liked it. And I actually hired her recently to help me. Like, I kind of, for my graphic novel, knew the colors that I wanted to generally do, but I wasn't exactly sure how to get them with um, with the color palettes. And so I hired her so she could kind of help me, like doing an hour-long consultation. And that was very useful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But I'm trying in general just to limit my color palette more. I tend to just like to experiment a lot, but I feel like that can slow me down and then I don't develop actual expertise in things. So, and right now, again, I'm jumping all over the place with color. This is not as limited as I had intended. It's a lot harder when you're leading, make art at the same time. Minute 30.
Oh, yeah. My Helga says a minute 9, so I'm going to add a little bit to that.
That's that time. So then this is just the last 5 minutes, basically. So hopefully you have most of your comic done. And now you could add color or just figure out ways to kind of improve it. Maybe, spot blacks are like, very black areas that will draw the eye. So you can see, like on mine, I've kind of added in some black on the shirt, even though it's a purple shirt. And then so you can see it better when it's down the toilet. And then I've given my character like a t-shirt, a swimsuit that's that color. So
Okay, so I started the clock. Mine's 4:56. Is that about right? Or
yeah, mine's now at 4:25, but yeah, close enough.
okay. All right, maybe I'll let it.
We don't have to be exact.
Yeah, you're right. I'm being obsessive. Okay. Um, this is the make it better stage. The color really just makes it shine.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it makes it so much better. Whereas before it was just kind of a so-so comic, and then it like looks so much more complete. I still think it's kind of so-so, but that's okay. I'm sorry I'm not talking much while making this. I find that I can't multitask very well. And also when I'm doing these workshops, it always bothers me when the instructors talk during it because I'm like, I need to focus.
Yeah, it's
But
hard to know. Everybody's
it's
different.
hard. Everyone's different. So I apologize if this is too much quiet for you. I will say things when we all share our work. 2 more minutes. One more minute. I used to do a lot of sports growing up, and I was always the time. I'm sure this doesn't surprise anyone. I was always the timekeeper when we were doing like drills and stuff and doing weights.
It's such a sad story. Just watching it. It's like you told the story and then you drew the story and now you're just layering this luxurious color onto the story and it just gets sadder and sadder. The more the more I stare at it, the
Yeah, good.
more that the rich, the richer it gets visually, the sadder it
Right,
gets.
right. Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Totally. Yeah. So I think I'm done.
Oh, I'm gonna turn off my timer, otherwise it'll make a noise. Actually, you want to hear the noise? Three
Oh,
seconds. No,
is it the funny one? Yeah. You can turn off the noise I learned in my mentoring group. It was pretty
Oh, really?
distracting. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna pull up my last uh screen, which is just about sharing it. So not a very complicated screen, but you did it. Yay! Or you can keep working while we all share. Either works. But yeah, so tag me if you end up sharing it. I'm at Woodman-Maynard and also use hashtag Friday Night Comics. And now is the sharing portion of the
Yeah.
night's
Oh, and,
show. Yeah.
and Catherine, can you try and raise your Zoom hand again? Did that ever work? I forget. It might be
How,
too.
how do I?
I don't know. I mean, your toolbar still isn't there, huh?
No, my toolbar is there. So where is it on
Oh, it
the
might be
on
under
the more?
React. You might have to hit the
I
heart
had the
or
heart. Yeah, I see the heart. It's just funny. Oh, there's the raise hand. It's funny. I always accidentally like trigger it because I talk so much with my hands. So like even in like Zoom therapy, I'm like giving weird thumbs up and
All
stuff. I'm just like, that's not what I want. Yay. So
right, I'm
I
gonna
think, yeah, remove the spotlight from me. There we go.
yeah, and we can yeah, so we have lots of people who'd like to share, so we'll just start, huh? Okay, we'll
Yeah,
go
let's
with
do it.
Alan first, and I know Alan wants to share screen.
Yeah, I have my screen shared, and unfortunately,
Hang on a second.
no problem. Let me
There,
know when
there
you're
you
ready.
go. You're all set.
Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I kind of spent too much time making fancy panel borders and kind of sort of rushed the art itself, but oh well. So when I was a kid, I would build lots of things with Legos, mostly weird layers with different rooms that hinged together and had different levels. This in and of itself isn't too unusual, but for some reason, after I built something, I would meticulously draw out schematics of what I built so I could rebuild it later. I'm pretty sure I never did rebuild any of those earlier models, but I think those papers are probably still in the filing cabinet in my parents' attic, so I probably could if I wanted to. So there's my 3-panel comic about my
That's
childhood
great.
Lego
Oh my
drawing.
gosh. I love it. And I love the using the Legos as the panel borders are perfect. I think that's so great. And also just so funny that you didn't ever actually rebuild them, but you wanted to be able to.
In principle, I could, but yeah, I never.
Right, right. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
I love that. I think those borders were worth it too, Alan. Those
Yes, I
were
agree.
great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Chris next.
Tom, you're still timing, or it's like, I don't know if you can just turn that off.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
turn it off. Let me see. Timer. I keep hitting X. Am I now? Oh, now I'm not. Okay. All right, we'll go to Chris now.
Yeah, timer's gone now. As a kid, I liked this show called Giant Robot. There was this robot that was on TV, a little series. And as an adult, I spend lots of time on Zoom, and Zoom is saying, "It looks like you're done talking. Can I lower your hand?" And then there's a knock at the door,
Oh.
and it's Giant Robot, and he's saying, "It looks like you're done living in your current house. Can I evict you?" And then Racer X from Speed Racer shows up and asks me if I need a ride.
Oh, fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that
All
one.
good stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I like how you brought in the other childhood thing at the end too. Yeah,
And brought in
that's
tonight
great.
too. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Totally. Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
We'll see if Gabrielle's ready. Gabrielle, you ready? Then we'll go to Walter. Here we go.
There we go. So the childhood obsession that I chose was just as a kid, I was just obsessed with rock bands. Specifically from like age 12 onwards, I was obsessed with rock bands. So you see right here, first panel is me, age 12, watching Red Hot Chili Peppers music videos on TV and thinking there is nothing cooler than being in a rock band. And then the second panel, it's me age 21 when I actually was in a rock band. And you see all the other people that I'm in the band with. One says, I can totally hit those high notes. Another one says, we need to spend more money. And the third one says, I hate this song. And now 21-year-old me is thinking, there's nothing more aggravating than being in a rock band.
That's awesome. And that's so true about so many childhood things, right? Like that we think they're so cool and then you achieve them and you're like, oh, this actually wasn't that.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Literally, that's my career right now because I'm in animation and it's like, man, this is a lot more fun watching it than doing it.
Yeah, totally. I was also an animator. I switched to comics. Yeah.
Rad. Might do the same.
Awesome.
Don't
Thanks, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Don't tell the kids that. Walter, if Walter's ready, we'll go to Walter. Let's see. Here we go.
I'm here.
There's Walter.
So I don't have a very obsessive personality. I even texted my sisters and asked them if they remembered anything I was obsessed about, and they couldn't come up with anything either. But I shared this memory of something that was pretty close. Like a lot of kids, I had Green Army Men toys, but my pride and joy was a small group of Russian soldiers. In the middle of the Cold War, this felt so transgressive.
Oh, that's awesome. It's also really funny that the Zoom put a frowning thumbs down when
Yeah,
the
I think
Russian
it
soldiers
might have seen my
popped up.
hands, so I think it might have seen one of the hands there, or was it the hand I was holding?
That's
with? I
great.
don't know.
I love the pose of those Russian shoulders. That's so great
That's
because
the
they
best
do
I
always
could
have.
remember them. There was probably
Yeah.
more.
I feel like
And it
they
was
do
cool
often
'cause
have
they
those
were
weird poses.
Like a deep blue purple instead of green. so you could tell the difference really easily. Anyway,
Awesome.
that's my memory. Thanks for this. It
Thanks,
was fun.
Walter. Good.
Thanks, Walter.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Linda next.
Hey, this is so fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. So
Um,
glad.
I, like many girls, I was obsessed with horses. So there's a beautiful horse. I loved how strong they were and how beautiful, but I didn't want to have a horse. I wanted to be a horse. So my friend Terry and I set up a jumping range in her backyard, and it had, all the brooms and whatnot that we could find that between chairs. We would go over them and also practice our whinnies for hours at a time. And my mother, one of the nicest things she did for me was, for a year, she took me out to get horseback. Well, I guess one summer, she took me out to get horseback riding lessons. And she would read while I rode the horse around. And to their horror, my parents' horror, there was a horse for sale for $100 at that stable. And I saved up enough money to buy the horse. So when I was 12, I presented my parents with a sock full of money for my babysitting money and said, I want to buy the horse. And they were, it's like, but you have to feed it and you have to, etc. So they bought a German Shepherd instead that was also for sale, which became my father's dog. A German Shepherd is not a horse. But for a while I got to ride them and I still love them. They're beautiful animals.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that. I love the twist of like, you think it's going to be about like pretty horses, but no, you wanted to be the horse and then you were riding and then you wanted to buy the horse. You keep like doing those little like,
Yeah.
upping the ante or like, turning it. That's so awesome. That's great. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Linda.
Thanks, Linda. We'll go to Sophia next. Here we go.
Hi. I really loved the way that you taught, and I even took some notes, so I'm really excited about some of the things that I learned. And one of the things that really excited me was about making panels shaped or like not rectangular. So right away, I wanted to do like slanted panels. So I have a 3-panel drawing here.
Ooh.
And I didn't have time to get my captions in there, but if you can you see this really light gray?
Yeah, we can just make it out, but maybe tell us what's on the,
Yeah.
left panel.
Yeah. So the first panel, this guy over here, first caption will say, spending mornings in freezing Detroit with my dad and sometimes sister was absolutely the best part of attending the Detroit Auto Show every year growing up. So it's Kobo Center and a bunch of people in the winter and disgusting slush and people walking by. I really like the challenge of having to draw faster too, because I'm a pretty slow drawer. But I always draw with ink, so this is a fun thing. Okay, second caption, second panel says, but the second best part was the top-notch promotional materials I collected from the vendors. And then the third panel is, as a young artist, budding DJ, and lover of design, the magazines and CDs were game changers and prized possessions. So it's just like a vendor lady giving out like Scion mix CDs and Nissan Altima magazines. And then the last panel is me just being obsessed with like design and playlists and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's
really
great.
fun.
Oh, I love that. And I like that the angle of the comics to me sort of works with like an auto show in some way, like kind of how like everything's like angled forward, like I don't know if that was intentional.
exactly what I was hoping to go for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I like that you're getting from the auto show to like great design things coming out of it, like not what other people would take from the auto show.
Yeah, hopefully in the finalized drawing, the cars will look good too. So that'll be implied that I
Right.
appreciated the cars as well.
Awesome.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sophia.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Eli next, then Nicole, then Susanna.
Hi, this was
Thank
super
you.
fun. I can't believe I got here in time. I was at work until like 4:30, so I rushed in, and strangely, my drawings look as rushed as if the whole time. When I was a kid, I was really into Steve Martin, King Tut, Wild and Crazy Guy era, like really into him. And I did not speak in my own voice for probably a lot of what would be like the third or fourth grade. And so I was always singing the King Tut song and walking like an Egyptian. And I was warned by my parents that the charm was wearing off. And so I would be, well, excuse me. And so my mom said, you know, if you say one more thing in Steve Martin's voice, you are grounded. And I couldn't. I had to. And so I was slammed into grounded jail. But I'm a wild and crazy guy. I feel like I never had kids, but if I did, I feel like I would be cursed by some little twerp like me. So I escaped having the parents say whatever they usually say. Well, this is what you get. Anyway, thank you. This was super fun. Enjoyed it.
Oh my God, that's great. And oh, that's such a great like visual and sound, kind of like that you were using the voice is so cool. Like
Oh,
I wonder if
so
there's
annoying.
yeah, totally.
I think Steve Martin tired of it too, Eli.
Yeah, even he wrote me a letter and said, yeah, stop.
Oh, no, I mean, all right. We'll go to Nicole now.
Thanks. Hey,
Hi,
Nicole.
how are
Nicole's a
you?
friend. I'm
This is
good.
so fun.
Yeah. Thanks for
Um,
being here.
okay, I'm gonna screen share. I did on my iPad. So when I was little, my best friends and I were obsessed with the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. We even got our own pants to share. Um, and then side note from Abercrombie and Fitch. We had a journal to write what happened when we had the pants. They really felt like magic.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. And you got fancy pants too for it. Oh, that's great. Thank you. And Nicole just announced that she has a book coming out. Say what the title is.
It's The Quietest Places in New York City.
Yeah, Nicole also does watercolor, so she's watercolored all the quietest places in New York City. So you
Oh,
should check that out.
put a link in the chat. I mean,
Yeah,
Sure,
quiet
yeah.
places in New York City. That's really valuable information.
Thank
especially
you.
for cartoonists. Like, awesome. Nice to see you.
Thanks. I don't know if Susanna's unmuted yet, but we'll go to
Hey,
Susanna.
I am now.
Susanna.
There we
Hey,
go.
Catherine.
Hi,
This
Susanna.
is so fun.
Awesome.
When I saw the topic for this, I was like, oh my God, there's so many things. I had a hard time picking, but pick something recent. So I have for family movie night, there was only ever one thing I wanted to rent. Mom, please. And it says Walt Disney's Robin Hood at the bottom. As I got older, I started to realize there may have been an extra component to my obsession. Something that I recently admitted with a meme on Instagram and realized, who was your first crush? Me. I'm definitely not alone. Me too. Yes, 90% of the characters in this movie could get it. My mom was surprised and confused to learn I had a crush on the foxes as a kid.
That's awesome. Thanks. I also
Thank you.
thought I definitely had a crush on him too.
Foxy
Yeah.
foxes. Yeah, Robin
Foxy
was
fox.
fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and also I want to note, because Susanna and I are doing this lettering workshop, just how nice her lettering looks by using the font that she
Oh
created.
yes, thank you.
Because like as
Pitch.
opposed, yes, right, pitch for that. But also it really is like as opposed to the one I just quickly hand did, and it's like much harder to read. This is just something I've been thinking a lot about as I do it. But anyway, thanks so much, Susanna. That looked awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susanna. Nice to see you. Okay, we'll go to Jackie next.
So I did mine on Morris the cat. It's probably before a lot of people's times. He was the spokes cat for. Oops, I just crushed my spine there, Daryl. When I was a kid, I loved the 9 Lives spokes cat Morris, and that's me there. Morris, Din, and he would always go like, until you gave him 9 lives. Oh, and Boo is being narcissistic here. And sorry, I don't think. sorry, we had 3 cats each with, they just ate a lot of cat food. And it's like 3 cats with the economy sized of 9 lives. And I would mail in the labels for swag. And that's, bumper stickers and calendars and t-shirts. And there's like my cat, like judging Morris. Poser. Then one day my mom had at my Morris calendar. And there she is. See, there's no one Morris. It's not even the same cat. How like she's complaining about like they're not even that one from March has like more white on its chest than the one from April. He had to ruin everything.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny, but also sad. And how you drew your mom is so funny with the cigarette and the rollers.
Yes.
And I love how you're drawing the eyes too, like the really circular eyes are so expressive.
Thank
That's
you.
really awesome. Thanks so
Yes,
much.
this was very, very fun. Thanks.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Thanks, Jackie. We'll go to Joanne next.
Hi. Mine's a little sad, but so I wanted to be a ballerina, and I would dance around in my bedroom, and I would have these very elaborate choreographic, and I'd be pirouetting, but my mother didn't encourage me. She wouldn't give me ballet lessons because her sister was also really obsessed, but her body was rejected. She didn't have she wasn't flat enough. Yeah, so I didn't get to, yeah. So
That is sad. And it's the foot wasn't flat enough. Is that how it is in
no, she
like
had a chest. She
her
was
chest wasn't
busty.
flat enough? Wow.
Yeah, she was busty, and that's not a ballerina body.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. But
so she was,
I love the third panel, how you drew the like partially in the panel and kind of like the hand out and the pose
Yeah,
and
great
the
drawing.
eyes there. It's so fun.
Thanks, Joanne.
this is good.
Thank you.
We'll
It's
go to
great.
we'll go to David next, then Rudy, then Eileen, then Jason. If David is ready. See if he comes up. There we go.
Let's see.
Oh, you might have to get rid of that blur, David.
Oh yeah, I think the blur.
How do I? Oh, sorry. We'll do. Go to settings. Sorry.
There we go.
When I was a little kid, I loved to make maps. Everything is in a map. The whole world is in a map.
Mm.
I can make my own world, my own map. It's my map. I can name the countries. So I draw maps with roads and highways and names. And then I'd make tiny little armies with little clay soldiers. Somehow gave me power, even though I was a little kid. That's it.
That's so cool. It's kind of profound. I feel like to some extent that's kind of what we do with comics anyway, right? Like we create our own little worlds and we're trying to populate them and have control.
It gave me power. It gave me
Yes.
power when I was 6 years old.
Yeah, and 6 years old, they don't have much power. Thank you, David. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks, David. We'll go to Rudy next. Here we go.
Okay, so my obsession when I was younger was vampires. So, okay, let's see. The first one is like me wearing like a vampire costume when I was younger, like perfect, saying perfect. I still have a vampire costume to this day, but okay. And then second one is vampire hunters versus vampires, because in recess in elementary school, we would always play vampires, and I think I believed I was a vampire for real. But anyways, the vampires always won, of course. And then this one is me sitting at nighttime with the tablet next to me on the bed, reciting like a spell on from YouTube. Like, I know I did this when I was younger. There was like videos about spells that was supposed to turn you into a vampire. So this is just me reciting the spell. And then the last one is me waking up in the morning saying, "Gosh darn it," because I didn't turn into a vampire.
Oh, that's so cool. That's also such like kind of that really captures the obsession, right? Like the and kind of the belief that like, oh, if only I do this spell that I found on YouTube, it'll
Yeah.
happen. That's awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Thank
Rudy.
you.
And this is a reminder I'll put in the chat, places where you can share so that we can see them on social media or elsewhere. I'll put that in the chat. We'll go to Eileen next. Here we go.
Hi. This this exercise, which was awesome, actually ended up with 3 obsessions. I didn't even plan this, but so I was obsessed with this is like I'm 11, 12. It's 1977 or 78. So there's these Teen Beat magazines, Tiger Beat. You get free posters. Okay. I'm reading, there's an essay contest. Who's your hero? Immediately, because like Eli, I liked Steve Martin and I also liked the Tutankhamun tomb discovery, and I was obsessed with that. I had this cool book I got about, I was like, it's Lord Howard Carter, the discoverer of the tomb. That page after page, long handwritten essay. Okay. I ended up doing an extra panel about the results and how I felt, but this is really Sean Cassidy won, and I was also obsessed with him. So, you know, I had the magazines, and then I just felt like such a nerd idiot that was who I said I wanted my hero to be in a teen magazine.
I love that.
Yeah. And
So
also,
unique.
like the ballerina person, I wanted to be an archaeologist, but my mom said that it wouldn't work out because I had eczema. So whatever. What is that?
He's helpful parents.
Very helpful, very encouraging.
Very encouraging. Oh, that's so great. Thanks, Eileen.
Thanks, Eileen. We'll go to Jason next. Jason, how you doing?
Hey,
Hey, how's it
Jason.
going? Long time no
Nice to
see.
see you. I know.
It's been a while since I've been able to participate, so I'm stoked to be able to do this tonight. And thank you for hosting. It got me excited, and your banner change and everything too. I have to share my screen as well.
Oh, give me a second, Jason. I'm gonna make that. Give you that option. There you go.
Thanks.
So Jason was in the 6 months, my mentoring group for the 6-month program at SAW, which was really awesome. We
Yes,
called
it was.
ourselves the Krakens, K's Krakens.
I feel like I need to get cracking on it again. Actually,
Yeah.
I need those deadlines. I need the pressure. I need them in the meetings.
Right.
I get
Yeah,
back
we can
to
see
here.
your screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for it's sideways. Can I get rid of myself there? Okay. See if I can get this out of the way too. So I was obsessed with the Rubik's Cube, and sorry about my sketchy drawing. It just
it's great.
was a little messy. That was my thumbnails. What I'm doing. Here we go. So when the Rubik's Cube came out, when it first came out, like 78, I think, I was determined to conquer it since I was really good at puzzles and cryptography and that kind of stuff. And all the other kids around the school were challenging me at everything anyway. And I usually beat them at everything. And so I figured, this is something I could do, no problem. But I couldn't actually do it. It was really stumping me. I couldn't figure out how to make the dang thing come back together on all sides. Maybe we could get one side, but it wasn't working out. And the kids were starting to laugh at me. They were losing faith in me. They had something they could see as a vulnerability for me, which is not normal for me. And then one day I was messing with it like too much, and it slipped out of my hands and it broke into a bunch of pieces. And luckily they didn't actually individually chip or anything. So as I was putting it back together, I realized, oh, here's how I can do it. I can just take it apart and put it back together. Right? That'd be good. Just have to figure out some way so people can't watch me do it. But after doing that a few times, it starts to loosen up and it just falls apart. The pieces don't actually stay together. And so my mom, buying me another one, also bought me this book called How to Solve the Rubik's Cube by Dr. Rubik. And it had step-by-step process of the entire thing. It came out like right after the Rubik's Cube did, not like maybe a month. And so memorizing was one of my strengths, and now I can solve the Rubik's Cube like forever. I'll never be able to not solve it. But I never got the chance to actually figure it out, doing it myself. I actually read a book, followed instructions, and that's that.
Fascinating.
An obsession that cost
Wow.
me. That's that.
Right. Oh, that's so, I love all the different like emotions that you kind of bring us through, like the anger, the friends,
It was just
yeah,
like that too. It was just
right.
exactly like that.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome,
This
Jason.
is
Thanks.
Trying
great.
to stop sharing here.
Can you get
Tom,
it?
can you cut me off?
There we go. We'll go to D next. Oh,
Thanks.
wait. Let me,
Oh, you're still,
yeah, let me, there we go.
Hey guys, I'm
Hi.
Dee. I use they them pronouns. I had a lot of obsessions, Tamagotchi, horses, also learning dog breeds. But what I landed on was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with American Girl doll, but there's like a pet that's like part of the like universe. So the first panel is I never owned an American Girl doll. It was way out of my family's budget. But I was obsessed with Coconut, one of the American Girl doll pets. Coconut's mouth was also magnetic, so her bone could stick to it. And then I'm so sorry to the moms because y'all, like we're just like really hating on moms tonight, and I did not mean to do that, but it is true. Try as I might, though, my mom wouldn't buy her for me. I ended up getting a secondhand Coconut, which I absolutely loved.
oh, well, it sounds like your mom did buy it just secondhand, or was
Actually,
it years
so
later?
yeah, well, I think I had actually gotten it from a friend, so I got it for free. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's so great. I love the details of like the magnet with the mouth, like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And that's the kind of thing that a kid would be like, I need that,
I remember like pouring through the catalog that I had gotten
Yes.
somehow, and I was like, okay, yeah, but like it comes with a free bone. I'm like, it's not free, obviously, but I was like, I'm like, she has everything. Like she came with her own bed, like a little bone, like a little collar. That like was this. It was really cute. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I also was obsessed with American Girl dolls, and I had Kirsten. My grandma got me Kirsten, but I would pour over the catalog too.
Yeah.
It's a
Wait,
great catalog.
was Kirsten, she was the
She was
blonde,
like the prairie girl. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. I was thinking about
She was from
Molly.
Minnesota, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota. That's I think.
Classic. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Dee.
Thanks, Dee. And we'll go to Juan next, and then Julia, and then Gail. I love that phrase. I ended up with a secondhand coconut. Here we go.
Hi everyone. I'll share my screen as well if that's okay.
I'll have to put that back on. Hang on a second. There you go.
Wonderful. I'm one, she, her, and my childhood obsession was cataloging.
Oh, I think
Oh, we missed you. What was your childhood obsession?
Juan, I think you just started.
Oh, you muted.
Yeah. There
Sorry,
you go.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, my obsession was like memorizing dog breeds. So I would read this big book of dog breeds. So I did a 4-panel, very much inspired by our amazing facilitator. So essentially when I was 10, I was obsessed with dog breeds. And this is me and my mom at the park and me explaining what the breeds are. That's a Doberman and a Beagle Pup. An adult Beagle will blah, 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 all these facts about dogs. Unfortunately, none of that knowledge remains. A child in my life is asking me, what are those dogs? And I say, big dog, small dog. And she's like, come on, that's not a real answer. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, that's so funny. I love the full circle moment where you're now the parent and like and you're tired in the image too. It looks like you're like, I don't have time for big, memorizing dog breeds. Oh, it's great. I also really enjoy how you drew the dogs. They're very expressive.
Can't draw animals, but I tried. So
Thanks, Juan.
Thanks, Mon.
Okay, we'll go to Julia, then Gail, then Audrey. We'll try and get through our last few here. Julia, are you there? There we go.
Yeah. Hi. I conscripted my daughter and her friend to also do the project. Could I Could I share my screen for a minute, or are you ready to? Do you want to
Oh, do
share
I?
yours?
Mine are just a bunch of drawings. They're not comics.
Huh? Okay. Do you want to share?
I mean, sure.
You can share.
So it's very
You
pale.
can't see really.
Very
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's pale. Oh, it's a
Looks like
unicorn though.
unicorns. Unicorns.
We can see a
I was
unicorn.
just convinced that I was part unicorn as a kid, so that's why.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Can I share yours?
I'd rather not.
Sky passes. So can I share my screen?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead, Julia.
All right. So I was obsessed with David Bowie. So I'd walk around and listen on a Walkman to the album, the Diamond Dogs and Hunky Dory. And I'd go walk around with my little Walkman until it was dark out, listening and memorizing the David Bowie songs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Go to the
Wow.
park and listen to that. Yeah.
Love those loose drawings.
Yeah, and the color.
I was really inspired by your idea of just like not getting nitpicky and just going directly to ink. I thought
Yeah.
that was a great idea.
Yeah, it looks great. Your inks are really beautiful lines. Like
Thank
just
you.
so yeah.
Thank you so
really
much.
cool.
And I'm so enjoying looking at everybody's. This is the best, seeing
Yeah.
and hearing everybody's stories.
Yeah, it's so great. Everyone has such great stories. Thank you. Thanks, Julia.
Cool.
And
Thank you.
family,
Yeah.
friends.
We have time for a couple more. Let's go to Gail real fast. Let's see. Hi, Gail.
Hi, this was great. I decided to focus on my childhood obsession with witches. So my first panel is The Wednesday Witch, which was one of Ruth Chu's books. Maybe some of you remember her. As a child, I was obsessed with all witches, including all of Ruth Chu's book witches. And of course, Samantha Stevens of Bewitched. I practiced twitching my nose and hoped that magical powers would soon develop. They never did. When I got a bit older, Stevie Nicks became my favorite rock and roll witch. Stevie and her scarves. I wore a scarf all senior year of high school, but it was a winter scarf because I didn't have any other kind. It did not make me look witchy.
But you were warm.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed everybody's who's shared theirs too.
Thanks,
Well,
Gail.
thank you, Gail. I love seeing all the different kinds of witches. It's great.
Did
I'm
not
gonna
make
get out
it.
my scarf.
All right, we'll go to Audrey next if Audrey's ready, and then we'll go to Edgar, then Margaret. All right, here we go.
Hi. So I joined a bit late, so I didn't get to color, and this was a bit rushed. But my childhood obsession, which was actually not that long ago, was collecting Pokemon cards.
Oh,
why is my background
Oh,
blurry?
yeah.
It'll be in
Wait,
your
how do I
video
fix that?
settings. Under video, there'll be a little arrow, and there'll be some video settings, and it'll be like
There we go. All right. So, oh God, this is not a good computer. Sorry.
I think maybe the light is backlighting it a bit. I don't know. We can kind of see it there.
better. Yeah.
All right. So the first card I ever found was a Mareep card. I don't know if there are any Pokemon fans here, but it's like a very weak little sheep thing. And I instantly became obsessed with Pokemon. After that, a lot more cards started appearing that I found. They basically multiplied. So here I am staring at all the Pokemon. Eventually I learned how to play them, how to battle with them and play the card game correctly. but that was like years after I started collecting. And then eventually, like after a while, I had to sell them. Um, sorry, like because of my mom, just adding to everyone else. I also had like school to focus on, and yeah, that was the end of the Pokemon cards.
Oh, that's so fun. I love the second panel where you've got all the different characters. That's so fun. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Audrey.
Thanks, Audrey. Okay, we'll
Thank you.
go to Edgar next. Here we go.
Well, thank you for the inspiration of childhood obsessions. I dug deep, and this is what I came up with. Let's see if I call it Childhood Obsessions of Mine. At the age of 4, I was recognized as an expert in fungus and mushrooms, which I called mutt-rooms. And here I am, shelf fungus, and then don't eat the angel of death. I still look for shelf fungus on trees. At the age of 9, the mother of my best friend, Rod Marcus, gave me a copy of the Beatles' first album on VJ Records, introducing the Beatles. I bought a Beatle wig. I bought Beatle cards, the Beatles bubblegum, 5 cents, top series 1. I bought Beatle dolls. There's Paul. What didn't I buy that had to do with John, Paul, George, and Ringo? It culminated in Rod playing drums and me playing guitar and 2 other boys all wearing Beatle wigs singing 2 Beatles songs for Miss Lockery's 4th grade class. But that is a whole other story, which really goes from 1964 to 1988 to 2 weeks ago, and it needs its own pages.
Yes.
But my final childhood obsession has to do with comic books. I started at the end of the 10-cent era, continued through the 12-cent era, 15 cents, 25, etc. I collected DC, Marvel, Charlton, ACG, Tower, Harvey, Dell, Gold Key, Archie, Radio, Mighty Comics, Whammo, and others. Here below is my drawing made from an actual photo of me at the age of 13 in spring 1967 in my basement with 500 comic books, all sorted by title and number. And when I look at the actual photo, I can still tell that this is the Batman section with a Batman 80-page giant on top. And so, just so you would know, this is based on truth. Here's the actual photo of me at the age of 13, proudly standing over all my comic books. And my parents never threw them away, and I kept them until just a few years ago when I sold them.
Oh,
Wow. Good for you. That's amazing. And I love that you're making comics now. I don't know if you've been doing that for a long time, but
Well, a little bit, but in recent years, thanks to Tom and Michael Asner and all the guest artists like you that have inspired me. So I'm very grateful to all of you and my fellow participants.
yeah, it's such a great group. What a wonderful comic. I love all the details. It's so great. And you should make that story, the Beatles story, into its own
I will.
comic.
I will
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, it's joyful and heartbreaking, but I'll save that for another week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Edgar.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Edgar. We'll go to Margaret next.
Okay, hi. Mine's kind of simple. Oh, yeah, I start here. No, they're here. A stripy-faced rag doll was my best friend. We were twin souls. I even gave her my name.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm bad at doing this. I literally loved her skin off. A well-meaning but tragic recovery job changed her forever.
Yes. Oh, so relatable. I feel like I remember that with things you loved too much.
Yeah.
Life lesson, I guess. Thank you, Margaret.
Thanks, Margaret. Okay, well, we've got room for these last 3 here. Christine is next, and we'll
Hello from Minneapolis.
Hello.
Oh, when I was a kid, I was really into the American Top 40 radio show. Listened to it every Sunday. It was aired twice. I'd listened to it twice. And I was really specifically obsessed with recording the year's top 100. So future generations had that information. I was concerned that it just wouldn't be kept anywhere. And I still find lists that I kept of most award shows, end of the year countdown. And the internet has, is a curse and a blessing. And it's been a blessing for me in the way that I have much less anxiety and feel much less responsibility to maintain these records for the future.
You can
Oh,
let
so
yourself off the hook.
funny. Yeah, that's great. Did you like memorize them or was it just kind of recording them?
It was just to have as a reference because I thought it was very important that we have the reference of these items, that no one
Yes.
was keeping track of them. And, the internet really let me know someone was. So thank you.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christine.
Thanks, Christine. We'll go to Vanj and then Michael, and that'll be it. Is it Vanj?
Hi. It was really helpful to have the brainstorming time at the beginning because I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about. But here's my comic. Children are powerless in a chaotic world. And there's this chaotic world. I think that's why I sought synchronized movement. And that's the obsession that I landed on. So here's me and my best friend walking in sync around the school. And I even led a foot swaying session with my whole class while the teacher spoke. So we all swayed our feet in the same direction in a circle. And then most memorably in a school pageant, dancing as the Supremes, doing our synchronized dance moves. So.
Oh, that's so great. I love that the synchronization, I thought it would just be about dance, but it was just more like the actual movement.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating. I love that your teacher was like, sure, let's do that.
Can we see
Thank
that
you,
last
Vanj.
panel again? I want to show
Yeah.
Katharine. Katharine, look at the arms in the stop in the name of love. It's so great. Those hands,
It's
arms
so
are,
big.
yeah, it's
Oh,
so great. So
awesome.
great drawing.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, we'll finish up with Michael. Here's Michael.
I'm gonna need to share my screen. I apologize because I never stopped obsessing over things. So I started to obsess over the art and it went totally, all right. So I don't even have a first panel because I jumped around drawing my favorite things. Okay.
Yeah.
In 1973, how do I get that thing? Never mind. In 1973, Robert Mueller invited me to his house to watch Planet of the Apes on ABC's Friday Night at the Movies. I'm probably going to draw the very distinct logo of ABC's Friday Night at the Movies in that panel. His dad, who looked like Clint Eastwood, turned off the lights, so all we saw was the movie play on their enormous 19-inch color TV. Ready, boys? I became obsessed with POTA, except that I always rooted for the apes, not the humans. I even dreamt about the Planet of the Apes. In hindsight, I fear my crush on Zero is problematic.
Oh, funny. I love your drawing style. Like this pencil, like these lines are beautiful. Like that hand clutching on the third panel. Just great. Oh, this is so funny. You should definitely finish this up to get that first panel. The Clint Eastwood drawing is wonderful too.
Well, I used to draw these characters all the time in the margins of notebooks at school and get into trouble. But it was really weird, like going into a trance drawing them now.
Right. Yeah.
But good.
Totally. Good. Yeah. I get that. Thank you, Michael. Thanks, everyone. These are all so fun.
I'm gonna try and find Katharine again. There you are, Kay. Yeah, and it was mentioned often in the chat that moms weren't getting a lot of love this time, but I didn't. That's kind of I didn't exactly notice it, but it's true. There was a lot of like my mom threw it out, or my mom didn't want me to do Steve Martin or stuff like that. But anyway, no, it was so great. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is great. Please share your work. It was so fun to see this all, and yeah, I love all the creativity of everyone and just like also the quirkiness. That's why it's so great. We all have such like wide-ranging, interesting obsessions. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, Tom, and everyone for
Oh,
coming.
thank you. I put all the sharing links in the chat just now. Will you tell us again about your book coming out and your workshop? Oh, wait, and I want to make sure I get the link to pre-order your book. I want to make sure I get that in the
Oh,
chat
yeah, if you
too.
could. Yeah. And Suzanne, if you can put the link to the lettering workshop. So, yeah. So, Tuck Everlasting is coming out in September. So, it's an adaptation of Natalie Babbitt's book that came out 50 years ago. So, I'm really excited about that. I watercolored 240 pages of beautiful, I think, pages. I'm
Yeah.
modest too. And then Suzanne and I have a lettering workshop on March 25th called Level Up Your Lettering, where we're going to lead you through how to create your own comics font. So you should be able to leave the workshop with a font that you can use. And then I'll also be going over kind of how to incorporate fonts and lettering into your comics, kind of to elevate your comics. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's it. So nice to see you all. Thank you so
I'm gonna
much for
ask.
being here.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask everybody to unmute and give you a round of applause. It's so wonderful seeing you all the time. Thank you so much.
Thank
Kay's
you,
a part of our
Katharine.
6-month program too, so join us there.
Keep up your great
Thank
work.
you.
Have a great
Thanks,
evening,
everyone.
everybody.
Amazing.
Looking forward to that letter.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye.
everybody. Good night.
Happy weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you weekend.
Before I get out of here.